Welcome to another edition of the Bethel Culture Podcast, where we seek to inform, influence, and inspire. If you're confused because there's someone who looks like me sitting in the center, but it's not actually me, it's because my doppelganger, Josh Reed, and his wife are here.
You really should have had me introduce the video, just like
That would have been way too confusing for way too many people, and everything. So, but yeah, they're here to talk about what the Lord's been doing in their life. But my name is Weston. If you're new with us, I'm one of the pastors here. And so, Josh and Rikki, why don't you introduce yourselves a little bit?
All right, thank you, Weston. My name is Josh Reed. This is my wife, Rikki. We've been married for 27 years. This past May, we have 4 kids, 3 boys and 1 girl. Donovan, Damon, Devin, and Lydia. 3 of our boys have been married, so we have 3 beautiful daughter-in-laws also, Allison, Kira, and Lexi. Probably should have went the other way around. Allison, Lexi, and Kira. And we have 1 baby grandson named Wells, who was born in March, and we already love him to pieces. So... yeah, and just to level set, so some people may not have heard somehow, but Rikki and I are in the process of moving to San Felipe, Mexico, in the Baja Peninsula. So it's San Felipe, Baja California, Mexico, kind of like Galesburg, Illinois, USA. And Rikki and I are going to be the new directors of a ministry called 99+1. So we have... We've essentially quit our jobs. So Rikki quit her job in June. I put in my resignation back in April. My last day will be August 7th. We sold our house. We've sold most of our possessions. I would say probably, 80% of them. So
80% you sold, or you have now gotten rid of 80%, whether selling, giving away, trash.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Exactly. Okay. Yes. Yeah. A combination of the 3.
Gotcha.
I would say we gave away a lot of our stuff to our kids that they wanted. What they didn't want, we tried to sell, and then what we didn't sell, we took multiple trips to the Knox County landfill and Goodwill and Salvation Army. So.
Yeah. Excellent.
So yeah.
Rikki, anything to add as far as your history here? How long have you been at Bethel?
I have been at Bethel for, I would say, 45 years. So, since I could walk, at least.
That means you're aging yourself.
Oh, maybe. You just have to figure out how old I am.
How long it took you to walk?
Yeah, I don't know. So, yeah, I've been here. I don't remember not being at Bethel. Let's put it that way. So, yep.
Yeah, and me, I came here in 95, back when I met her. So she's the one that is responsible for bringing me to Bethel. It's kind of one of those things, hey, if you want to date me, this is the church I go to.
So you've been here a long time, but Rikki, you're essentially a lifer.
Pretty much, yeah. Yep.
Yes. So obviously, huge shift for you guys, and there's so much that goes into all this. How has the Lord been preparing you for this shift, for missions, whether that's in general or specifically for this? How have you seen the Lord working in preparation for this?
Yeah. So I think for me anyway, it's really been just being part of all the short-term missions trips that Bethel has put on. So Bethel puts a high emphasis on missions, and one of the ways that Bethel kind of lives that out is, I think, by sending out short-term missions teams. And so we've had the opportunity to serve on quite a few of those that have been in various parts of Mexico. We've served here in the States with Samaritan's Purse and some other similar organizations. And so I think through the, just the being on the team and being kind of the older people on the team, the natural leadership side of things takes over, and just kind of coordinating the skills and who's doing what, and just the various tasks and things that need to happen on this type of a mission, I guess you might say, is just kind of been natural over the time.
Is it the same for you, Rikki?
Actually, that and also being part of the missions team here at Bethel, just the long term. We have 20 plus missionaries here, and that we support at Bethel. And being part of that, I have been on the team. I know before since 2019 at least, and during that time frame, I've gotten to know quite a bit of our missionaries and their struggles and their experiences and their rewards, like the things that they've seen happening in their lives. And it's just been very fulfilling. I remember one of my first meetings was with the Foleys downstairs in the station. And I was just so excited to hear what they were doing. And I was just like, I want to do that someday. And that was like, and the only way that I saw myself worthy enough of being it is just to be on the team and hear their stories and be able to pray for them and support them as much as possible. And so that was a big part of me, my draw going into the mission field.
So, really incredible story of just being faithful and involved in a local church. Grew a heart for missions, not just support missionaries, which some are easier to the Foleys do such a great job of sending out their newsletters and breaking that down and everything, but being involved at those levels has actually transferred and prepared you, like you guys said, into heading into the mission field. What would you say is a time where you felt like God's call specifically to this mission in San Felipe?
Yeah, for me, it was the last short-term mission trip that we went on to San Felipe. It was getting toward the end of the week. I think it was Aiden and Devin and me we were putting in a light pole. We were adding, essentially they needed outdoor lighting for the orphanage. And so we had to dig a hole and we had to put the pole in, we had to, install the lighting and all that kind of stuff. And as I was reflecting on the past week's activities and all the work that we had done and just the joy that we saw in the kids and interacting with them and the people, how grateful they were for us to be there helping them. And it was during that, essentially that installation of a light pole, that it hit me that this is something I want to do full time. So we were talking about it the other day. It was kind of my light bulb / light pole moment. That was when it really hit me.
If you weren't going to say it, I was going to say opportunity missed there. That's when the light went on. But
Yep.
Okay, you got there. Good job.
Yeah, definitely credit went to Rikki. She's the one that had thought of it initially, and I'm like, yeah, that's a good point.
Now,
Light bulb.
how much farther, or was it at the same time? What did that look like for you? Were you like, it's about time, or you're like, we're going where?
Right. So it was during that trip that I decided that it was like time for me to step up, I guess you could say. We had just gotten there, I believe, and we were standing up on the host family's balcony and watching the sunset over the mountains, and we were just having conversations. And I walked, and my dad was standing by himself just watching the sunset, and I walked over and just had a conversation with him. And it was through that conversation that I was just like, you know what? This is it. This is my time. This is my time to step up and do what God is asking me to do and has been putting on me for a while now. And it's just, and after that point, we end up opening up a lot of conversations between the two of us.
So having made the decision, okay, we're going to go. Lots of people make decisions. Not everybody always follows through because they run into various obstacles, roadblocks, major things that you're going to have to overcome, fears, leaving family, all those type of things. What did that journey look like for you guys?
Yeah, I mean, I would say it was we had our own moments together. I would say that meeting with we went on a vision trip to San Felipe to talk with the teams, and just to get our head around exactly what we would be doing, and make sure that this was something that God was really calling us to, at least that specific area. And so the opportunity to talk with our kids and just to hear their feedback and to just kind of understand that it was okay. I think that was the biggest thing for us was we were kind of apprehensive about telling them just because, what are they going to think? We're at the time, Devin and Lydia were both at home, and it was going to be a big impact for them because they were essentially leaving them here to fend for themselves.
Or uprooting them and making them
uprooting them and them coming with us. Yeah, at the time we really didn't know if they were going to come with us. That was an option. They could come with us, and a lot of things have changed since then. But that initial reveal, I guess you might say. There was a lot of tears. I think it was just for me, it wasn't even just it was just the relief of being able to tell them, because we'd been talking about this between ourselves for
Probably a year at least.
almost a year.
Wow.
Yeah.
And so on one hand, we kind of felt like we were hiding it from our family, but at the same time, we wanted to make sure that this was real, and that we weren't going to unnecessarily scar them.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like it was just
Yeah. Hey, we're considering this. What? Maybe we're not.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, so there was a lot of tears, but a lot of good conversations came from that. And I think one of the big things that helped us with that whole process was we met with you guys. We asked you guys out to dinner, you and Amy, and
With no strings attached.
with no strings attached, right?
Yeah, we're like, what? Why are we going to dinner? What's going to happen here?
And given our history, I can understand you could probably be a little apprehensive about what I was going to drop on you, but yeah, I mean, that you guys encouraged us that, hey, this is an opportunity. You have an opportunity to demonstrate to your kids that God is calling you to something, and you're following through on that. And what better example can we be to our kids than to do that? And so, I think that was the nudge that we needed. And so, thank you.
And knowing your kids as well as I know them, by and large, and the amount that they've been involved in the missions world with your dad and everything else, too. It was easy for us to imagine that they were going to take it well, but especially as you guys described your timeline, how much you've been wrestling, it was like, oh, it's time. It's time to rip this Band-Aid off,
Yeah.
And everything. So
We're just going down to San Felipe, no reason at all.
I don't know if they actually believed us.
I would
now
say,
think about it. But.
had most of them put it together at that point?
Well, we actually told them before we left for San Felipe. So yeah. So I think it did come as a surprise to them, but then it was like once they could the initial shock got over, they're like, oh yeah, that makes sense. So
No, it all makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that gives everybody a picture of the journey. So to walk us through a little more details, I get this question all the time. I get it from my kids. What do you do all day, Dad? And especially on Sundays that are, weeks that I don't preach, and everything. And so, some missionaries, it's, when people think missionaries, they think somebody who's like going around from almost door to door sometime and, preaching the gospel to people, even though anybody involved in the mission world knows that sometimes it's that, but it's usually rarely that. It involves a lot of other facets. Just like, again, I do more than work once a week, right? So speaking on a Sunday type of thing, or every other week, from this standpoint. So walk us through, what does this look like? What will you guys be doing? What is the 99+1? What is all this?
Sure. Yeah. So 99+1 is their main thing is that they are a missions base. So the core, what we call, kind of refer to lovingly as the compound, is called the mission home, and basically it is the goal there is that short-term missions teams, kind of like when Bethel went down, they have whatever the size group it is, they have a place to come down, set up camp, so to speak, be able to have a place to sleep, to eat, to fellowship, and then go out into the community and do ministry. And so our job as directors is basically to, one, arrange the teams to come down, but then also arrange the work to be done, whether that be coordinating, light construction projects, running VBS camps, church trainings. There's so many things that depending on the group that's coming down and the specific needs at that time, our job will be basically coordinating teams to meet those needs within the community.
So, and then to add to his, in order to be able to meet those needs, we need to know the community. So we'll be able to go out and get to know the community whether it be through the churches that we're working with or just the individual relationships that we build. We'll be able to hear and know more of what needs to be done within the community. So then we could build up those relationships, and we could still do work on the side, also maybe a little bit slower than a team would, but we could still be doing the relationship building and then some of the physical work on the side also, when there isn't a team there.
Say, how often would teams be coming?
Yeah, so they basically it's San Felipe's in a desert region, so kind of the time frame when you can bring a team is kind of limited on, or I guess it's more contingent on the weather. So from May until September, or I'm sorry, from September to May, the other way, is really kind of the ideal time frame. June, July, August, you really don't want to be there.
Outside doing work.
As outside doing work,
Yeah.
unless you live there, of course. As a team coming in, we kind of try to make it a little more hospitable, I guess you might say. But so I mean, yeah, so it ranges right now. It's anywhere from 10 to 12 to 15 teams per season, I guess you might say.
Okay, for that essentially school year type of season.
Yep.
But 10 to 15 teams, that's not a small amount.
When you figure in that, usually during the month of December, things close down for Christmas and,
Correct.
things like that. So, yeah.
So that, really from that standpoint, you're usually either prepping for a team, having the team there, recovering from the team that just went there, and moving into the next space.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Because again, from an individual church, we're like, oh, one team goes down, not realizing how many other teams that you're partnering with, and you got to obviously, when they're available, whether, school-wise, right, for teenagers, fall breaks, spring breaks, winter breaks. There's a lot of schools that do year-round schools that have opportunities and things like that, or adults. I'm assuming there's plenty of adult groups that come down.
Yeah, there are. Yeah. And I know our group, when we took a group team, it was like 20, I think, because I know that we had two. I mean, it was 2025. So, I mean, that's the group that we're bringing that could potentially or more could come into that facility. So during that time frame. So,
Yeah, and I think we're trying to focus more. Kind of the vision moving forward is kind of more focused on smaller teams, so maybe not 20, but I mean, it's kind of one of those ebb and flows based on the need, and I really think the idea would be to streamline some of those things as far as how many teams we can get in, what makes sense. Maybe it's growing the number of teams, maybe it's shrinking the number of teams, but maybe the teams are larger, depending on the time and what needs to be done. The other thing would be that these teams come from all over. They don't just come from like the surrounding, California, Texas, Arizona. I mean, they have teams coming from the East Coast, Canada, and so we're really excited just from that perspective to be able to interface with believers from around the world that all kind of come central to this area to minister and meet the needs of this small community. So.
That's fantastic. And I'm assuming hopefully more Bethel teams will come in the future as well.
Yep.
That's what we're hoping. Yeah, definitely. And the other thing too is, like, as we've met with other churches, they've got youth groups as well. They've got young adults, and so it's really been exciting just to be able to connect with different churches from that perspective too. Just that maybe they don't do short-term mission trips, but maybe through our connection, that'll be other groups that can come down, and maybe it's additional trips from Bethel. So, yeah.
Yeah, especially different times of the year, different groups, adults, teens, young adults, that kind of stuff. Well, that gives us some details on the ministry itself. Back to you guys on kind of the personal side of things. Through this whole process, positive, what's been the most encouraging part of this process? Nothing? Okay, great.
No, there's been so many things. It's hard to, those of you that do get our newsletter, you may have seen some of them, but man, we've had so many answers to prayer. It's been, I think that's been one of the biggest thing for me is just how many things that we were praying for, things that we hadn't thought to pray for yet, that God is either answering what we've asked for or He's answering ahead of when we ask.
More than what we've asked.
And man, that has been a huge blessing. Man, it's been amazing to see. I think the other cool thing was that because I was able to turn in my resignation and maintain a healthy relationship with my employer, there's been a lot of good conversations with management and with my fellow coworkers as far as what I'm doing and why I'm doing it, and I think there was the other side of it too, where I thought there was going to be more animosity towards me because of what I was doing, just the stuff that I'm involved in at work. It's not a good time to leave, but that's not I have other things to do now. So,
The Lord has gone before you, and that went well. And
exactly.
Rikki, specifically for you, what's been the most encouraging part?
Yeah, the answers to prayer has been huge. I mean, it just makes us more excited and to tell people our story. But I think Josh kind of touched on it a little bit earlier, just the conversations that we've been able to have with our own kids and our own family, like to encourage them to be praying those specific prayers and just to be more willing to take things to God instead of putting things on yourself. And Lydia said that Lydia is not a word of the year type person, but she said that she has a word of the year, and because she's high anxiety, high whatever you want to say, kind of like me.
She's a teenage girl.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, what's my excuse?
Oh.
Never mind.
You live with the teenage girl?
I live with a teenage girl. Yeah, but she said that her word of the year is peace, and she's like, I know it's completely crazy that I'm barely 18 years old. I'm having to go out on my, I'm going out on my own. I don't know anything and I should be complete basket case and I'm not. It's just peace. And I have complete peace about what you guys are doing, about what I'm doing. And she's like, it's kind of weird that I'm not scared. Like, or I'm not, that there's some scared, there's some fear involved, but she's just has complete peace about it. And she goes, I think our family word this year is peace. And I was just like, I like that. So
Nice. But yeah, if you guys weren't going to say anything, the things I've seen for encouragement from you guys, at some point, it was the prayer conference. There was a pray specifics, pray details, something like that. I remember you guys really taking that to heart, going through this process and just continuing to share where you saw that. But yeah, I mean, I just, from that conversation at that dinner of just, Amy and I were so excited of what the Lord was going to do. So many times as parents, right, you try to communicate to your kids, you should follow the Lord. You should step out in faith. You should trust, even when it's unknown and scary and things like that. And to know that you guys were literally going to give this object lesson. Like, we're all off a lot of times at the stage of life where everything's pretty stable. Jobs are stable, right? You're in midlife. You get a
getting
little
ready to have our own house all to ourselves.
That's right. Empty nest, all that kind of stuff. And instead, you're completely, you're having the opposite of a midlife crisis, right? You're not going for comfort or ease or things like that. And you're giving this example to your kids at this just formative time and everything. And so I know that's what I've been encouraged to watch you guys do, to watch your kids respond, your adult children to respond to all that. So if you weren't going to mention those things, I certainly wasn't going to, because I've been so encouraged by that. So I'll ask this, a different way. Maybe you already answered it, but as you reflect on this process, reflect maybe on some of the things you've shared, are there specific things that God has been teaching you lately that you've had to really lean into Him to trust Him right now?
Yeah, I mean, I think we did kind of touch on it a little bit, but really it is praying specific prayers. I think through that, it's been very easy for us to see how God has been working. Sometimes I feel like when you pray kind of these, I wouldn't say nebulous prayers, but they're based, kind of like, take care of us or bless us. Those are kind of very high level prayers, which are good prayers, but at the same time, how do you know when God's answered it? Specifically. So when you pray specific prayers for,
Baby to be born on a Saturday.
yeah, for our grandchild to be born on a Saturday, and he is. And when you pray for, you need a vehicle that's going to be suitable for the environment we're going into, and God provides. And there's just, again, been so many things that we've been praying specifically for that God has specifically answered. And so it all kind of boils down to relying on Him and praying those specific prayers and watching for specific answers.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
My biggest thing is if anybody was at Mom to Mom for my little spiel there, was just giving up control. I didn't realize how much control, how controlling I was. Like, as a mom, you're like, oh, I don't do anything. But then you realize that you have your family's calendars, your family's meals, your family's, who's going where and what and when and those kind of things. And I guess, like, as the kids, grew up and moved out, that was like kind of handing over the control also, but then just realizing like that God has it in His control and that it's so much easier just to give Him that control and me to not have to be so worried and so panicked about it. Like, it's okay to hand it over to Him. That was one of my main things that I've learned through this whole process is just let him have the control of it, and that things will be okay. So
Now, usually one of the most specific things involved in prayer, specific things in terms of control, specific things in terms of fear, is often the financial side of things. I mean, the number of times I've talked to people who, well, I'd be interested in being a missionary, but I just couldn't imagine fundraising. I mean, that's kind of the biggest hurdle for people, and knowing people have gone into the mission field, like just the prayer for that, and specific prayers to meet certain benchmarks by certain times, all those type of things. So paint us a picture. What has that looked like for you so far in this process, and what is that looking like for you in the future?
Okay. Yeah. I would say that we've started off kind of slow, just because at work, I work way too much, and Rikki can back that up for sure. So it doesn't leave a lot of time, in the evenings. People don't like to meet, 9 o'clock at night, to talk about, support raising.
unless you're in a meeting with China.
Unless you're in a meeting with China, yeah. So, and they're not supporting me. So it's been difficult. So a lot of our conversations have kind of happened. I don't know, naturally through just connections that we have at churches, and so like I said, it's been slow, but it's been okay, in that we have raised support, but we haven't been able to. I say hit it as hard as we would like to. So as part of our training, the recommendation is that you're, it's daily meetings and daily calls, and that was just stuff that wasn't able to happen while I was still working. So now that I'm basically done at CAT, I am 100% remote now, so that gives me some freedom as far as my hours that I'm able to devote to some of the support raising activities. It still has been slow, but we've been able to visit some churches, and we've got a few churches supporting us, but really we're I would say from what our mission agency Ripe for Harvest would suggest that we have, comparing that with what our mission partners in Mexico say we should probably have, I would say we're in the realm of 35 to 55%
Okay.
funded. So we've got a lot of work to do, but we also have we got about a month and a half, and the plan would be that July through the time we leave is going to be really devoted to support raising. So.
Now, it comes, you've kind of mentioned, having meetings with people and then with churches. From the personal standpoint, what does it look like to have someone be, I know the missions language is usually ministry partner. What does it look like if a couple, an individual, wants to support you guys personally? Because I know there's people at Bethel who do that, right? They give to Bethel and that goes to missions, and then there's specific missionaries they give to additionally or separately or over and above, those type of things. What does that look like for you guys?
So, like whenever somebody mentions fundraising, everybody kind of cringes. It's like, ugh. But through our training and through books that we've read, it actually you kind of get more excited because you don't just think of it as a financial aspect of things. You literally are building a support base. So, the people that are supporting you financially, and maybe not even financially, but they're still invested in what you're doing. They're praying for you. They're staying in communications with you. So like I was just talking to Josh last night. I was like, we only technically have one more small group left. I was like, maybe we need to work something out that we could still make it to the next two, because I don't want to give up those connections yet. Like I'm not willing to give up those times with my people yet. And so having that communication and those connections with those people and just staying involved with our friends' lives and is really valuable for us to so on that side of things. And then like I said before, you just have the bigger support system you have, the more people praying for you is what we value on top of everything. So that's part of being a ministry partner, as you said. So it's just to be able to have those people come around you, not only just financially, but also praying for you and talking with you and keeping your home base still in your heads to keep the homesickness a little bit at bay. So.
Yeah, and I think the other side of it too is just, well, I think she really touched on it mainly is the support system. And I know it can sound like cliche in a way that, you're just, they really just want our money. But no, we really do want a support system, because we need people praying for us, because we're going to be there, on our own essentially, and we need as much support as we have, or as we can. The financial side of things, it helps put food on the table, but like from a mental and from a physical and a spiritual perspective, we need to have that needs to be taken care of. I can take up fishing and go fishing in the Sea of Cortez if I need to. I've never been one to do much fishing, and I don't like sharks. But hey, if I have to, I'll have to. So.
Well, I guess what does that look like individually? If someone's like, okay, I want to be, maybe they've never had missionaries at our church. They've really gotten behind before. It's just been this nebulous thing. And here we have a, couple that is going from our church to be missionaries, and they're like, man, I want to get fully on board. Again, I think of all the missionaries, and I hate to say this, the main missions report I read is the Foley's one. I don't know if they just do a better job with their newsletter, and so I'm more likely to scan through and read some things. But I feel more invested in what they're doing. If when they're back, I want to ask them more. I guess that, there's a couple more. I read Emily's, I read the Hansons, or whatever. But there's just certain ones. If somebody's like, I want the Reeds to be like, I'm there, I'm for them. Is there a newsletter, an email, a sign up? Should they reach out to you? What should they do?
Oh, definitely. Yeah. So we definitely do have a newsletter. Currently, until we leave, we've been trying to do it monthly. Haven't been the greatest at it. There was a couple months where it really wasn't much
where we sold our house and
really wasn't much to share.
To update, yeah.
But so I mean, once we get in the field, the goal would be to at least quarterly to be able to have an update that has kind of what we've been working on the last few months.
Right. How many teams have visited? Things
exactly
like that.
What kind of impact we've been making. What our needs are, those kind of things. And really the best way to sign up for that is just to reach out to us. We have an email address, but until you sit down with us and get our information, it's really, there's really no other way
easiest just to communicate.
Just communicate with us. If you have our phone number, call us, text me, stop me in church, stop me on the street.
All right.
Now it's real simple. I just need an email address and a name, and I'll sign you up.
Now, if there's someone not from Bethel watching this and they're a part of a church and they're like, I'd love my church to get involved. I'd love my church to support Josh and Rikki. We'd love to come down to, Mexico for a mission trip, in the fall or something like that. What would it look like for another church to get involved?
Yeah, really it's really just we're just an email away. That's kind of how it's really happened for us, was just with the other churches that we've met, has been just putting me in contact with the leadership. So it's like, who's the man in charge, so to speak. Is it a senior pastor? Is it a board of elders? Is it a missions team? We just need to know who to contact. If you have a church that you feel would be, they're a mission-minded church and they want to support missionaries, and just put me in contact with the right people, and I'll reach out.
And it doesn't have to be just here locally in Galesburg, Illinois type thing. Like I said before, we've reached out to Scott Wilson, and church is supporting us there. And so we're willing, Zoom, and that's Colorado. Zoom has made life a lot easier on us. So, yep.
Yeah.
So.
As we, get towards wrapping up here, if people have, listened to this, they kind of know your story, maybe they've heard bits and pieces. What do you hope are some of the takeaways? The lessons that you hope people will take from your story of what God has been doing in your guys' life?
I guess I would say that anybody can be a missionary. If Rikki and I can do it, anybody can do it. I think that's one of the we've kind of shared in various forums that through our experiences with long-term missions, the long-term missions team and short-term missions team, we had kind of put what a missionary is into this kind of defined area, and that's not how God operates. He can use anybody, whether it's a missionary here in Galesburg, doing at your work, or whether it's serving abroad. Basically, it's just being open to God's leading, and being willing to actually follow through on it. So, asking, telling God that you are, here I am, send me, but then actually being ready for that. On my own side, I felt like I was making that known to God. But at the same time, I had put my own limitations on where I thought I could serve and how He could use me and what location I could serve in. And when I took those restrictions away, it was amazing to see how He led me.
Right. Not use me, but make sure I maintain my job and do this and do that. I don't
And
want to
not go
move.
into extreme heat with a bald head.
Preach, sister. I'm not sure I'm going to come visit you guys in the summer is all I'm saying. Sounds like a winter trip to me.
Lovely.
Yes. Well, excellent. Well, we talked about specific prayer. How can people specifically be praying for you guys? Which, they may see portions of this over time. So, I mean, are there things this week? Are there things specific, that don't necessarily have a timeline that people can be praying for?
Yeah, I mean, for me, I think if I had one thing, it would be a smooth transition into our role. So, obviously, the drive down, it's 30 hours. We're going to have 2 dogs with us and all of our
Probably a trailer.
of our remaining
Limited
possessions. So just safe travel down. Where we plan to be starting September 1st. That's kind of like if we had a higher date, that would be the date, September 1st. So just learning the ropes of what all we need to do. The current directors aren't leaving. They're going to be there. We're going to be working with them on a regular basis, but just learning the job, what it all entails. Obviously, we want to do a good job. And so just that whole transition from the old into us, the new.
Yeah. Excellent. Specifically anything for you, Rikki?
Just my time here. Just saying the goodbyes. We've already kind of started to say it, and I have one of our friends in our small group. I said last week, I said, "Oh my goodness, I only have 2 more small groups left," and she's like, "We're not discussing that right now," as tears start, welling up in both of our eyes. And so it's just, I know that the goodbyes are going to be hard. They're just part of it, and it's not going just to be able to get through that and do that well. So.
That's again reality of the transitions, and you said it well, Josh. There's one thing to say, here I am, send me. It's another one to put the energy behind it, say the goodbyes, face the fears, be open to job changes, moving, all that kind of stuff. Though I always kind of encourage people, man, if big life transitions. Create unique spaces to depend on the Lord in a unique way. And so, the number of people I've even just encouraged if they're in between moving or not moving, I tend to encourage people to move. Not that I'm trying to get people out of here, but, just there's a unique space when you're in that kind of thing.
And vulnerability opens up and
daily bread starts to take on a whole new meaning. And so it's been fun to watch you guys do that. So to wrap up big picture wise, imagine, you're back on furlough 5 years from now, you're visiting Bethel, we decide to do another podcast. What are you hoping to be able to look back and go, yeah, I can't believe this happened? What are your sort of 5-year dreams for things like that?
I think my biggest dream is that one, we increase the teams coming to San Felipe and the impact there, but through those short-term teams, Bethel alone has sent so many students on short-term teams that have now become missionaries and gone out into different areas of the world, and knowing that if we could have that impact, if they're currently taking 10 to 15 teams now, if we could get 15 to 20 teams and, 1 or 2 people, just the snowball effect of that, if those people go into the mission field, the next generation of actual full-time missionaries that could be potentially created, that excites me. So.
Yeah. I think that's one of the biggest thing that excites me about this unique mission is that, I think sometimes there gets to be I don't know the right word, but basically, I can't think of the right word. Anyway, that basically short-term missions trips don't do anything. Like they're just there they're just to make you feel better.
They get a bad rap. They get a stigma. Yeah,
they get a bad stigma. That's the word I'm looking for. At 5 years ago, I may have agreed with you because that was kind of where I was. It was like I was going on a trip. I felt I did a good deed. I came back. I felt great, and then we'll do it again next year. But I think that's what led us to doing what we're doing. Short-term missions teams and groups and trips have a purpose, and it's to build that internal fire that somebody maybe they didn't know they had for missions, and that gives them a chance to go out into like a safe space, so to speak, and try it out and see what it looks like. And hey, maybe this is something I can do, maybe it isn't, but it's not a full-on commitment right away. It's something that you can. It's kind of like a trial period, right? Like,
Yeah.
Everybody likes trial periods, and anyway.
No,
so
I debated bringing that up, and I feel like that's almost a whole other podcast because I get frustrated when people do cause it's not as much as it used to be, but it used to be really trendy to criticize short-term mission trips, and we could be using that money for so many other things, which I think I said that in a sermon a couple times ago of anytime you can bring up we could use that for the poor, or whatever. Is there some truth to that? Sure. But the number of students that I've seen, I mean, sometimes have gone on to be future missionaries, but even taking that out, that they get a vision for how other people live, of a different world, of how to, like you guys said, be partners, to have experience what those missionaries are doing as the Lord brings it to their mind, to pray, to be on a missions team, to be able to give towards that they just had no experience of before. And so are they the way I like to refer to them as they are vision or exposure trips, and you're trying to give that to those people. I mean, sometimes just work is work. It is hard. Like if we did a short-term mission trips to Hawaii, we'd probably get a lot more signups, type of thing. And as opposed to some of my boys who went and cleaned up essentially sewage in people's basements in Iowa.
It's a little harder to sell.
A little bit. My boys often remind us.
I was there. I remember that one.
Again, it exposes you to so many good things, and not everybody. Some people, walk away and they do a little work and they're like, "Hey, let's go sightseeing in, Guadalajara or whatever." But I still think taking that opportunity to expose people to that, and I'm excited for you guys to get to see that, to get to see so many groups come through, and it's never everybody, but to see that the light bulb moment go off for a kid or two or an adult or things, and again, even if that never transfers into full-time missions work, but do they go back more prayerfully informed, more supportive, more excited, for things like that. I'm excited for you guys in that. What's one last way that people can get a hold of you, find out what's going on?
Yeah. So my hope is that after the video ends or whatever, that there's a QR code that someone can scan. That will take you to our Ripe for Harvest page. Our email address will be on there. Just feel free to reach out, email me, say, hey, sign me up for your newsletter. That's all it takes.
I'd like to learn more.
I'd like to learn more. Yeah, especially if you want to schedule an individual meeting with us. We'd love to sit down and talk and see how you can partner with us, both financially and prayerfully.
And what are some of the last things happen at Bethel here before you guys bounce?
Oh, yeah. August 16th, right? Yeah, August 16th. That's our last Sunday here. We're going to have an open house. Send off type of a thing. I think it's going to be at 1 or
1 o'clock.
1 o'clock
here at the church.
On Sunday here at the church, and we would just encourage as many people that can to come out, wish us well, say goodbye, and
I believe somebody will be praying for us during the service also.
Yes. That's on the schedule. Yes.
on the schedule. Good.
It's on the schedule. Yep. Fantastic. Well, thank you, and thank you all for joining us for another edition of Bethel Culture Podcast. We don't have our normal segments because it was all dedicated to you guys. So thanks, and we'll see you when we see it.
All right. Bye, everybody.